All right, guys, video number 3. In our first video, we learned to frame just a regular door in Tinkercad. In our second video, we learned the first video we learned to do a regular wall. In the second video, we did a door. You can see that door right there on the screen where I am actually, we finished that in the last video. But something else you should know is that we did all this on paper, me and my students. I had my students do this, and then now we're using Tinkercad to put it in on the computer as we're doing distance learning. So I hope you enjoy this little series. If you're on video 3 now, you must be either using it or liking watching the videos. I really appreciate that. And for all my students, I hope that you're successful. And make sure that you always let me know if you're having any difficulty or you need anything. Okay, so let's go ahead and go to do our window wall. I'm going to go ahead and switch to the top view and then kind of zoom in a little bit here so I can select. I'm going to duplicate the door wall. Okay, this is going to be pretty simple because I'm going to reuse a lot of the work that I've already done. So I'll click duplicate, and then I'm going to use the arrow keys and just push it back, and then it should just automatically be, connected here. And okay, and that would go faster if I had changed my snap, but I don't mind about going fast. I don't want to go too far. Perfect. And notice it butts up right there. Now, you know what? You could end up, you could do a shed just like this. If you wanted 2 doors, you could. Now, doors can be kind of expensive, so you might not want 2 doors. But I am going to make one of these. In fact, maybe I'll make this first one right here. I'll make that into a window. Okay, so I'm going to highlight it. Don't really like that. I like the brown color, but I don't. I'm going to change the color of it to like this orangish color. Yeah. Okay, so now we kind of know what we're working with as we go. All right, now the thing about the window, again, just like in the last video, I don't want to focus too much on the dimensions. You really should have, if you're my student, should have paid attention to the dimensions when you did the paper. And so you should just be able to measure and get to measure your paper and then just make it match what is on the screen. And so we won't worry too much about the measurements. It's going to depend. If you were making this in real life, and you were going to say buy a window that was already had the frame and already pre-hung and did all this stuff, which is generally how you're going to buy windows, then you're going to want to look at the rough opening of the window when you frame the wall, so that you frame the opening for the window to the exact dimensions that you need. A window and a door are pretty similar in a few areas. So in the first thing, I also want to be careful you don't do this right now. You don't use this little select tool because it's going to select everything that's behind it as well. And remember, we have that other wall back there behind it. We could move that wall, move it out of the way if you wanted, but for now, I'm going to go ahead and just select individual items at this point. So I could figure out where I want the top of my window would be a good thing to start with. So actually I will go ahead and measure, and the top of my window from the very bottom, and in fact I need to know where the top of my window is from the sole plate, but thankfully I have these plans I can look at. Looks like it's 4 3/4. 4 3/4. So that's a pretty easy dimension. 4.75. 4.75. Yeah, that would be the top of my window. I'm going to make my life easier. Delete this, select this one and duplicate it. Let's duplicate right there. And then I'm going to move it over. All right. Now my window is, I don't care about it being centered. I'm actually not going to worry about it being centered. So I'm actually going to make the window opening the same. I'm going to have it centered with the door. So I'm going to make my window opening the same opening as the door, which is going to be a big window. So it's fine. That's my height for the window. I'll select this guy, select this guy, select this guy, and then use, where's that little cone? There it is. There you are. And I'm going to end up leaving one behind, and that's okay. So I moved it down -5. Is that right? -5/8? Okay. I'll select this one, and I could just move it down by sight. And I think, yeah, I got it. All right. Perfect. All right. So now remember what I was talking about before. These studs, you want these studs to be 16 on center. So I'm actually going to duplicate this stud. And then my snap right now is 1/16. So every time I push the right arrow button, that's 1 inch. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So technically that would be where that should be. No, 13, 14, 15, 16, 16 on center, not 12, 16 on center. All right, so then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Wait, nope. Hang on a second. 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. Yeah. I actually want to keep that there. And now I'm going to change the dimension of it. I'm going to have to use this. I'll shrink it way down. Ugh. And then I'll pull it up. And you'll get used to this when you use Tinkercad more. You start getting used to these little things. Okay. Now I'm going to pull it up so it's flush with that. No, I'm not. I'm going to pull it down so it's flush with that. Then I'm going to grab this one until it's flush with that. Perfect. Okay. And notice it was said it was 5/8, so that's great. All right. That's where that cripple stud should go, because it's 16 on center with this one. Remember, this stud we moved, so it's like it doesn't count. It's like extra, and it's there because of the outside opening, or the outside of the window. Let's go ahead and duplicate it, and then count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. 16 on center. Okay, good. And if I click duplicate again, watch that. Boom, it puts it right where it's supposed to go. Okay. And look, now if I hit it again, watch this. Boom, it hits right on that one. So yeah, so this one right here and this one right here, I guess I moved those. I probably moved those when I moved the whole door in my demonstration in the last video. I'll just push delete on that. So this works out pretty good, actually. Okay. So if I were like trying to find the stud, I would be going 16 on center, and I would find the stud. It would line up perfectly. That's where those studs should be in reference to the edge of the wall. So that's perfect. Okay. Those are called cripple studs. And in fact, you know what? I don't need this piece right here. I should get rid of that. I actually don't need that at all. And then this guy is going to need to go down a little bit, and then extend it like that. This guy down. Oops, too much. And then extend it like that. This one too. We just added that piece in the door because it was just filling the space between the header and the top plate. We don't need it on the window part because we're using those cripple studs to transfer the weight down through. All right, cool. Okay, now basically I just need I'm going to need these guys also at the bottom. So I'm going to select and hold down Shift and select, and then I'm going to click duplicate, and I'm going to move those down, zip all the way down to the bottom. I want to make sure they line up. Perfect. All right, and that's okay that that's touching right here. That's fine. It's going to end up being, that's actually going to end up being like a trimmer for me. Okay, so now I need to have my window sill. My sill is going to be, I'll just copy this piece, so I'll duplicate. I'm going to bring it down. Oops, undo. Select, bring it down. And let's say I want my opening will be, say, 2.5. So negative 2.5. Yep. Okay, this thing right here needs to. Let me look at how we did it in the drawing. Yeah, that's how we did it. Okay, so I'm going to do right here. I'm going to just click, bring it in a couple. Whoops. Okay, and then over. Yeah, perfect. Okay. So now that sill is right there, and obviously it needs to be supported. And the sill is not really going to have to hold a ton of weight. And I would have to probably consult some standards on this, but because these cripple studs are so far out to the edges, I don't think I would use a trimmer for the sill, because it's not supporting the weight of the roof or anything. So I would actually just call that good. Looks like I changed the size of my sill by accident. Okay, there we go. So yeah, I would just call that good right there. Ta-da! We have a window. All right. So let's think about the flow of weight, or how weight is going to press down. Say you had this big old, heavy roof on top of your building. And let's illustrate it with this box right here. Okay, I'm going to put it like that. And then like this. This is just for illustration purposes. I'll look around like this. Okay. Let's say we have this big old heavy roof, okay? Obviously our roof won't look like this. It's going to look a little different. But assume that red box right now is the weight. Now, boom. Plop it down. Come on. Come on, box. Plop it down onto that top plate. Now it's resting on that top plate. Weight is pressing down on that top plate. This guy right here. This piece right here. And then look at that weight is going to transfer down into these studs. Okay. Now it's going to transfer into these studs all the way down into that bottom plate or sole plate, and then into the foundation. But think about this for the window for a second. Okay. This one's transferring all the way down to the bottom, but this guy right here, the weight is pressing down into it. It's pressing down into this one and into this one. And then it's pressing down into the header right here. Okay. So this header right here has a lot of strain and stress on it being pushed down from the weight from the top. And now that's going to transfer over here to this trimmer and over here to this trimmer. So then those trimmers, that's why they go all the way down to the sole plate right here. Boom. They're transferring the weight all the way there. Notice at no time did any of that weight from the roof transfer into the sill. Okay, that's why our sill doesn't need, that's why I'm not doing a second like trimmer. So like I could duplicate this and move it there. If I was supporting like a crazy heavy window, then maybe I would feel the need to do something like that. But I'm not going to. I'm not going to do that because it's just the weight of the window that sill is going to support. It's got these 3 studs, these 3 2x4s up on end right there that's going to transfer that weight down into the bottom there. So we're okay with that. I'm okay with that. All right, let me get rid of this stupid little block at the top, and let's take a look and admire our work so far. There we go. If it looks a little bit different than your drawing, that's okay. That's what's so cool about doing stuff on a computer, is that you could plan this out. I could literally plan out my entire shed right here on the computer and then count the number of 2x4s that I'm using. And I could do my entire, cut list. I could do my entire, the number of materials and things that I need, all right here on the computer. Okay. So at this point, for my classes, you'd be done. For those of you who are interested and want to know a little bit more, and I kind of teased on this in, I think, the last video, I was talking about something called, I think it's called a California corner. When I want to put, let's say I want to put drywall on the inside of this shed, okay, the sheetrock that goes on the inside there, it's going to be difficult for me to get to attach it in the corner. Like, what would I attach the edge of that drywall to? Nothing. I wouldn't have anything to attach it to. So what you can do is you can add some studs. What I would do is I would say duplicate this stud, then turn it 90, and then I'm going to move it over there. Let me change my angle so I can show you. Okay, and actually it's crazy because it fits perfectly in between those 2 little studs right there. Those studs are only 4 inches apart, so it's perfect. Notice how it's positioned there. But the nice thing about what that does is it gives me an edge to use to attach. And actually, I wouldn't even necessarily have to turn it sideways, but when I do turn it sideways, it also gives me something nice to nail through to attach to this other wall. So I get multiple options on the way that I can attach and tie those walls together with nails when I nail those together, when I frame them together. So yeah, that's called like a California corner. Again, this is on the other side is probably would illustrate a better the usefulness of that. So here, let me duplicate this guy. Let me turn it 90. Let me move it like right there. And then notice now I have this piece right here. This yellow piece is fully, I got a duplicate. This yellow piece is fully, has something to fully touch to. So it's not just touching the one side of the 2x4. It's touching the full, full face of that is touching. And then also on the inside here, I have something to attach my drywall to on the inside there. Okay. So I could do the same thing on the other side with these studs. It's really just a matter of duplicating it. If this were real framing, it's just a matter of getting yourself another stud and then putting it in the right spot like that and attaching it to the sole plate. Now, if I was doing this on the job site, I should have this already planned out, and I would frame this wall on the ground first, and then once it's all framed up, then I would raise the wall up. So there you go. On this one, say duplicate, turn it 90, move it over like that. And there you go. Then I have some nice corners that I can use on the inside to attach my whatever fascia, if I was doing like side, like paneling or something on the inside, I could attach it to that. All right, I hope you guys enjoyed this series on a wood frame shed in Tinkercad. It was a lot of fun for me to do, and I think maybe I will do a bonus video that will not be for my students. It'll just be for YouTube, and the bonus video will be when I add a roof and sheathing and decking and all that stuff that you probably saw in the thumbnail picture. So it's not clickbait, okay? I do intend on going all the way to that final product, okay? But for now, if you have any questions or comments or suggestions, please make them, and so that I can include that possibly in my final video, which would be released probably in a few days. All right. Thank you so much. Have a good one.